Well, you got a mortgage or you're thinking of getting mortgage. And now you're wondering, should you go for a 15 or a 30-year length in mortgage? And that is exactly what we're going to uncover in today's video. Hi everybody, my name is Nev from One Deal Away, and I want to share with you what you should think about and consider when you're evaluating whether you should go for 15 or 30-year mortgage. Personally, I will share with you in full transparency, I prefer to go with 30-year mortgage, and I will share with you exactly why I recommend that to my clients, to my students, and of course do it myself, because what good is it recommending something to somebody if you yourself don't do it, right? So here's the reason why. I understand the whole concept of you want to get out of debt really fast, and so a lot of gurus out there will recommend 15-year mortgage. But if we take, let's say that it's a $100,000 investment, right? And you finance it by 20% down, 80% finance, which is that sort of traditional, typical way to purchase real estate. And, so you're financing $80,000 a year over the course of, 30 years. Let's assume that that is going to cost you, I don't know, $700 a month. I'm making things up, obviously, because I'm not calculating things over here, but roughly let's assume that it's that. If you were to go with a 15-year mortgage, you would have to pay roughly double that, a little bit less than double. It's not exact science. It's not the exact math. It is science, but it's not exact math. It's not double. So instead of 700, you would have to pay, let's say, 1250. So that is how you would do the 15-year mortgage. You would pay $1,250, but you would be done in 15 years. Now, I understand that for a lot of folks, that's really enticing to say, I get to get rid of my mortgage and own my house completely. And the reason I said own like this with the quotation marks is because yes, you do get to own it, but you never truly own real estate. There's always that land piece. There's always the taxes stuff that you have to pay for. And so even if the mortgage is fully paid off, there are other expenses when it comes to real estate, from taxes to insurance to there's always things to fix up. And if you have ever owned real estate whatsoever, you completely understand that. And I'm sure that you're nodding your head of like, oh my gosh, yes, don't I know it? I have had one too many staycations as opposed to vacations. So, and that is okay. That comes with part of the ownership, is that you got to go fix things when things break. And you know what? Things will break. It is a given. But here we are to talk about the mortgage. So why do I say 30 and not 15? Let's say that you can afford that $1,250, right? $1,250 that we talked about that would take to mortgage that house or to finance the house, as opposed to $700 a month. Well, right now you could maybe afford it, but what happens in, say, 5 years from now when maybe you get ill, or somebody in your family gets ill or loses their job, economy turns down, some sort of something happens, and now that $1,250 is no longer sustainable. You no longer can afford it, and now you're struggling. So you're 5 years in, and now you can't afford to actually pay for that property. What happens then? Well, you would have to hopefully look for ways to refinance. But if you're down on the money, down on the luck, down on the economy, good luck refinancing. Nobody's touching anything until things start turning around. So you're basically stuck. Hopefully you have some money in savings, but when you run out of savings, because none of us know how long some of these things will last, then what? What do you do then? So those are the questions that I always like to ask myself. Now, let's play pretend that I can afford the $1,250 and I can do the 15-year. But I decide to do a 30-year mortgage, and I'm paying $700. That's the minimum that I have to pay in order to keep my home. So, but maybe I want to pay it off in 15 years. Well, nothing is preventing me. Most of the mortgages today have been set up in such a way where you can actually have ability to prepay without penalty. What that basically means is that you can go out there and be able to pay on a 15-year schedule while you have 30-year mortgage. If nothing bad happens to you, which is awesome, and I hope that is the case for you, then great, you're able to pay it off in 15 years, problem solved. But if something was to happen 5 years from now, because none of us can predict the future, you can simply ease off, pay only 700, have the differential that maybe is the differential that you need in order to do well financially and survive the hard times. And that is the reason why I recommend 30 years. You always want to go for the longest term period that you possibly can. And then nothing, absolutely nothing is stopping you unless the document says it, but most of the documents don't. And then just read it, right? Read what it says. If it says that there's prepayment penalty, then you understand that. But most of the residential contracts don't have that these days. So you can simply ask for it, read for it. You can even ask for it when you're applying for the loan to understand it. That way you're protecting yourself and you're giving yourself more options. I always teach my students and my staff as well that you want an option that gives you the most options. Does that make sense? You want an option that gives you the most exits, so to speak, that you can exercise so that when uncertainties in life happen, you have more than one way to get out of the situation and to be able to fix it. That is one of the greatest ways to prosperity, to being able to do well in any economy, is by staying strategic in good times and in bad. I hope this was helpful to you and that you will implement what you are learning here as you are considering these things. If you know of people who can benefit from learning about investing or about mortgage or about money or about any of the stuff that we're talking about on these particular trainings and videos and podcasts, I invite you to come and check it out, to join me for these sessions, and do share. I invite you to share these things with your friends and family that could enjoy or benefit from some of these things. My goal is to help as many people as possible. And as you can see, all of the things that I am doing out there and teaching are absolutely free of charge. It's just a matter of people finding it, locating it, liking it, and sharing it. So thanks for watching. Until next time, stay forever money blessed. And do remember, you are only one deal away.